Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking this brand, CeraVe, also known as CeraVe. I think it depends where in the world you live as to how you pronounce it. But this is a brand which went from relative obscurity to an international phenomenon in the space of around 6 months. 4 years ago, CeraVe took off and quickly became one of the best and fastest selling skincare brands on planet Earth. Just about every skincare influencer, beauty editor, dermatologist was recommending this brand as like a cure-all that's going to transform your skin at a relatively affordable price. Cut to like 4 years later, CeraVe's kind of disappeared from a lot of the content you see here online. People have started to question how effective their products actually are, and you see a lot of people mixing it up, maybe swapping out CeraVe products for some other affordable brands on the market. I want to do a bit of a deep dive to work out why that's the case. So I'm talking about things 4 years on from the hype first exploding with this brand as to where we are today. So sit back, relax, let's talk all things CeraVe. Now, before we get into this video, one huge caveat, and that's to say, when it comes to CeraVe, use what works for you. These are my thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and you guys might have a totally different experience, and that's absolutely fine. Let me know in the comment section below, because really I just want to get the conversation going. These are just my experiences with CeraVe, talking about kind of what's happened in the last 4 years, how we got to where we are today, what I think the future holds in terms of this brand. By no means is this the only opinion that exists, and if the CeraVe products are working really, really well for you, continue to use them. Cling onto them like your best friend, because in skincare, you have to choose products and brands that match your skin type, the outcomes that you want to get, and of course your budget, and that'll differ from person to person. Whatever your thoughts on CeraVe, hopefully you want to support me and reach down and give this video a big thumbs up and a like. The more likes the video gets, the more widely YouTube distributes it on its platform. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to each and every one of you that takes the time out of your day to just like the content that I create here on Mad About Skin. Now, with all that being said, shall we cut the waffle and just delve straight on in? CeraVe might have seemed like it's been around for decades, but actually it's a relative newcomer in the skincare world. They launched around 15 years and were what I'd say a relative successful brand, particularly with dermatologists and skincare professionals promoting their products which were super inexpensive and were also really simplistic in terms of their formulation. They worked great on anyone that had skin sensitivities because at the time of their launch, they're one of the few brands that didn't include artificial fragrance as standard in their skincare collection and also had some beneficial ingredients such as the ceramides that they become world renowned for. They also be able to deliver all of this with taking out some of the common irritants and allergens from their product. So if you had impaired barrier function, if you were going through treatment, or you wanted something that would hydrate or cleanse the skin without leaving you feeling stripped and dried, CeraVe was often the go-to. It was often compared to CeraVe, which was like the big competitor to CeraVe, but for some reason, CeraVe took off in a way that CeraVe never really did. I think it was the support of dermatologists and skincare professionals that really, started the CeraVe bandwagon rolling, but things still just chugged along until 4 years ago, and honestly, this brand exploded in popularity. It was all thanks to a couple of influencers that got their hands on the CeraVe products, fangirled about them, and promoted them here on YouTube. When the pandemic hit, a lot of people had a lot more time to spend consuming content online, but also to invest in a good skincare routine, bit of self-care, and we're looking for brands to experiment with. These CeraVe videos took off, and in some instances got like 30 or 40 million views. People couldn't wait to get their hands on these products, and they were super affordable and really easy to access in drugstores, so people went out there and the shelves were bare. Honestly, once this hype building, it was impossible to stop. More videos came out, more promotion from skinfluencers, from beauty editors, over on Instagram, Reddit, here on YouTube. Everyone was fangirling about this brand, and at one point it was almost impossible to get your hands on any of their products. Of course, with this hype, they took their core range, which at this point really only consisted of a couple of moisturizers and a couple of cleansers, and it exploded. We now have retinols, we have vitamin C's, we have 5 or 6 different cleansers, lots of different moisturizers for different skin concerns. It grew and grew and grew, and the hype honestly kept up with it. I think it's only recently that you've actually been able to go into physical stores and purchase these products without them being sold out, and I think some of that to do is with that hype actually going into reverse, which I'm going to come on to later in the video. People definitely went mad for CeraVe as a brand, and people honestly would come for you if you dare to say, you know what, maybe this brand isn't as amazing as people said. The fangirls would come at you in the comments. I actually experienced this, and honestly, it's water off a duck's back. But I've never been the biggest fan of CeraVe. I didn't really understand the hype. When I call this out in an early video, which I'll try to find, I'll leave a link in the description box below, so many people came from me in the comments saying, no, it's the only skincare brand you need. It's game-changing. It's transformed my skin. I do understand this. If you find a brand that genuinely delivers for you, you kind of treat it a bit like your baby. Maybe we're a bit defensive and protective. I'm certainly like this with certain brands such as Geek and Gorgeous, some of my holy grails. People come for me, and come for them, I maybe retaliate. And I do kind of get that. But this honestly was like next level in terms of the fandom and the people just loving CeraVe. A lot of this, of course, came down to Hyram, who is the biggest skincare content creator and influencer here on YouTube, and I think one of the biggest supporters and promoters of CeraVe. His initial videos were completely unsponsored. He just adored the brand, and he was one of the key reasons behind the hype. Since then, CeraVe have actually, sponsored some content on his channel, which again just helped that, again, to keep that hype train rolling. Things were all going really well until around 2 years ago when people started to take notice of CeraVe in a way maybe they hadn't before. All the hype was going, so of course people started to say, is this brand really all it seems? And that's where I think people started to challenge some of the claims, some of the hype that was surrounding it. First of all, people started to call out that actually it's not a cruelty-free brand. This is the first thing that really put me off CeraVe, if I'm totally honest, and why I don't shop the brand for my own skincare needs. This isn't going to be the same for everyone, and you know what? You've always got to match the products that you shop with to your individual ethics, what really matters to you. I decided to go entirely cruelty-free in terms of my skincare routine, which is why I never really looked at CeraVe in a meaningful way. A lot of people started to say, but we kind of thought they were cruelty-free. They say loud and proud on their website, we do not test on animals. But then when you look at the small print right at the bottom, they say, unless required to by law, where they hand over the products to be tested on their behalf so they can access products and territories such as mainland China, where they make a significant amount of profit. I think this started to leave a lot of people feeling a bit meh and cold. You know what? It all depends on your individual stance on this, but I think the lack of transparency and the way that CeraVe kind of tried to hide the fact that they were actually testing their products on animals left a lot of people feeling a bit cold towards them. Clearly, the directorship, the board, knew that what people wanted was cruelty-free skincare, because if they honestly thought nobody cares about this, they won't put anything about that. They made out that their products were cruelty-free, when in fact, if you check the small print, they weren't, and it's just not okay. It's not okay, and that was really the first thing that said, no, this isn't a brand I particularly want to engage with. Then it came the talk about the ceramides and the actual percentages in there. So ceramides on the back of the CeraVe hype became one of the hottest ingredients in skincare. Honestly, they are really, really good. They're like the building blocks of the skin. Up to 50% of our skin is comprised of these ceramides. And if you've got impaired barrier function, which can lead to increased water loss, dryness, redness, peeling, irritation, then ceramides can be one of the great ways to boost that barrier, repair everything. And this is why a lot of people really delved into CeraVe in a big way. Now, ceramides actually aren't as simple as they kind of sound. You need them in the right ratios to actually be able to deliver this barrier boosting and supporting benefit. You need to have it in the right ratio to ceramides, to fatty acids, to cholesterol. If you have that ratio out, then you're not going to be getting that barrier supporting benefit from the product. You'll get some hydration from those ceramides, but I think for products as aid supporting the barrier function, they really need to be delivering that exact ratio and the right percentages. CeraVe just don't do that. In fact, they're not transparent in the slightest of the percentages of ceramides that are in their product at all. Now, considering it's front and center of all of their marketing, you would expect that to be the case. Some people have actually estimated based on lab samples that the concentration of ceramides in some of their moisturizing products is 0.2%. This is literally woeful when you think of ceramides being front of center of all of their marketing and promotion. You can get at the drugstore way higher concentrations of ceramides than you'll get with the CeraVe estimated percentages, and the fact that they won't actually come out and say, no, that's wrong, our actual percentages are this, leads me to think, you know what, there might be just more than a little truth in that. I like brands to be transparent, particularly when they're relying on an ingredient to sell. What's the percentage? What are we using on our skin? And you can tell from the ingredients that it's definitely not in the right ratio of cholesterol, fatty acids, and ceramides altogether to really give too much of a barrier supporting benefit. I think a lot of people started to understand this, how ceramides worked, so a little bit of the gloss started to fall off CeraVe. It's at this point that their sales actually started to fall, and you've definitely seen a backtracking with people no longer reaching for it in the same quantities, which I think is most evident by the fact you can walk into a drugstore and the shelves are stocked full. It still has its core fans, and people do still reach for the products that work for them, but I think it was at this point a lot of people thought, okay, maybe they're not the good guys in skincare. They're actually not that transparent. They're owned by a multinational corporation that just really wants to line their pockets with coin, so they're not telling you the truth around the animal testing, the concentration of ceramides. Is it really as good as the products make out to be? It's at this point that they started to introduce a whole new set of products into their collection, and without exception, all of them just left people totally flat. The sunscreen was so ashy and white cast. I mean, nobody, even someone with relatively fair skin tone like myself, couldn't use that without it looking like you were wearing like a white sheet on the skin. People really didn't rave about that product, and I think that was kind of the start of saying maybe not everything CeraVe touches turns to gold. They then introduced this product, which is the eye repair cream, nothing more than a glorified moisturizer, and a lot of people said actually it's pretty much the exact same ingredients as in their moisturizer, so why do you need a separate product that's more expensive gram for gram when you could just buy the moisturizer and use it under the eye? I think this is a fair criticism, and kind of, I disappointed because I thought we'd moved on from eye creams just being glorified moisturizers. Clearly not in CeraVe's world. They definitely wanted to get the extra sales from this standalone product, but not put any effort into formulating something that's meaningfully different. Their vitamin C kind of had some supporters, but again, people said, you can just get cheaper out there at the drugstore, and it's not really adding a whole lot of additional benefit. Again, not a lot of transparency around the percentages and concentrations. Their retinol was kind of, I'd say it was set apart from this. People do really like the CeraVe retinol. Whilst it's not actually available for sale here in the UK, so I haven't been able to put it through its paces, people do say you get really great results with minimum irritation. So that's really nice. So they're not all fails. I always think you've got to credit where credit's due, and I think the retinol product is probably one of the better ones of the newer launches from CeraVe. Recently we've seen, and I think to counter some of the slowdown in sales and the decline in some cases of those sales, you've seen that CeraVe prices have gone up and continue to go up. Here in the UK, if you want to buy one of their cleansers, you're looking at something in the region of £15. Okay, that's not break the bank when compared to some other luxury and bougie brands, but it's certainly up there in terms of the price point. The same has happened across most territories in the world, with the CeraVe price just going up and up, so it's no longer that super affordable and drugstore brand that maybe it was, which I think, rather than helping them to keep the profit levels healthy, has actually, continued to show decline in the brand, where people saying, I could just get more exciting, better products elsewhere at more affordable prices. I don't really need to shop exclusively CeraVe anymore. And that's really where I think we come to at today's point. CeraVe is still a super popular brand, but it doesn't have the hype, the gloss, the untouchable image that maybe it had 2 years ago. I think people have started to realise that there's more to this brand than maybe meets the eye, and actually not the only fragrance-free and affordable drugstore products out there. The market is really caught up, and there's so much choice at the drugstore now, offering better outcomes in my view than what is with CeraVe, which is why I think a lot of people, even their hardcore fans, have started to look elsewhere and see if they can get better outcomes for more affordable prices with some other brands. You also don't see CeraVe hype the same way you used to online, and I think that's fair. They've also seemed to be becoming a little bit cash grabby with the launch of their makeup wipes, which honestly are absolutely terrible, and I think we've gone past the whole makeup wipes trend. Really now it's all about double cleansing balms. They're kind of behind the cycle with that, and I think that's when a lot of people thought, yeah, it's becoming a little bit cash grabby rather than well formulated, well thought through products. I know CeraVe is still a hugely popular brand out there, and like I say, if it works for you, continue to use it, as should be the case with every brand that you shop in your skincare routine. But I'm glad that some of that just unquestionable hype that went along with this brand has started to fade a little bit, and people are starting to say, I'll continue to use CeraVe if the products work for me, but I don't have to use it because it's the only skincare brand that's going to deliver any benefit. It's not, and there are more exciting brands out there, there's more affordable brands out there, there's cruelty-free brands out there to shop around to really make sure you're getting the best products for your skincare routine. They might be CeraVe, but they also equally might not be. I'd love to know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this brand. Are you surprised that the sales have started to fall, or are you the sort of person that will use CeraVe no matter what because you're genuinely getting the results? Sound off in the comments and let me know, and let's get that conversation started. And wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.